Hello everybody, it's Andy Smith, your host with the most for this week's exciting book look. This book is big, it's mighty, it's Marvel, it's the mighty Marvel calendar book of visual history by Chris Ryall, introduction by Roy Thomas. When I say this book is big, I'm not kidding. It is the size of the old calendars, 13 inches across, 13 basically height, so 13 by 13. If you don't know, Marvel just came out with this year a straight up reproduction of the 1975 calendar from 50 years ago because all the dates and everything line up exactly. I bought one. I unfortunately don't have every one of these original calendars. I have the 1979 one. So I guess in 4 years I'll be able to use that on my wall. They did these calendars from, was it 75 to, I believe, 81. Yes, here we go. Guys, if you are a collector like me, you will love this book. It goes into the history of the calendar. It's loaded with artwork. Ugh, right out of the gate, that drives me crazy. This blue right here should be flesh color. Anyhow, Roy Thomas, introduction, talking about how the calendars came about and such. And then a little preface here by Chris Ryall. And then we dive in, 1975. And then it kind of goes into, before each calendar, talking about, especially this one being the first calendar, why they decide to do calendars, what they want to include, birthday, special events, things like that. This is cool right here. The 1975 Mighty Marvel calendar makes a cameo in Fantastic Four 165 on page 5. I never knew that. That is awesome. It makes me want to go out and get this issue just because of that. Because I don't think I own it already. And then from there, after that brief 1 or 2 pager, it goes into the calendar. And like I said, this is the size these calendars were made. I'm looking at mine hanging on the wall right now. Actually, this might be a little bit bigger than the calendar. So here we go, going through it. And the only difference is this was at the top, of course, and then, you know, the calendar at the bottom because it flips up. And it is, we just hit March. I still have to change my calendar over to March from February, but this is it. I love it. Guys, once again, way before people did computer stuff, this is all paste up in mechanicals. So somewhere out there, there is this original that has these numbers pasted down, these heads. I mean, you can tell that's a photo that was just cut out with an X-Acto knife. Of course, I like to go through and see things like, you know, March 1st is my dad's birthday. And in 1975, it was on a Saturday. And he would have been 36. Great. It tells you who did the art. So art by John Buscema. Oh, Barry Smith. Click in. Love this inking style. It's funny because the one thing about Barry at this time, he was still a raw young artist, but he started getting into this really Art Nouveau looking type of inking style. And the thing is, it really hides some of the bad drawing that is going on here. But I love it. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's not a slam. I mean, Barry is great, but like everybody, he had to go into it. May 5th, my daughter's birthday. Of course, not till 2003. Rich Buckler. Oh, one of my favorites, John Romita Sr. right here. Love the swoop of this figure and this figure angling that way. John Buscema, Frank Giacoya. Jack Kirby. The great Mike Plug. Oh, wait, got to back it up. September 25th, my wife's birthday, turns 7 right there. Oh, love this. Gil Kane. Cover of Marvel 2-in-1, I think. Number 3. November 5th, guys. Oh, Jim Steranko's birthday and also mine. I turned 6. The great Sal Buscema, little Santa Claus back there. Love it. Christmas was on a Thursday. And then there's other stuff that was in the calendar as well. Other dates that didn't make it. Then we go to 1976, Black Panther. And then Bicentennial Battles, of course, 1976. 200th anniversary of the country. So we know the theme of this calendar. John Romita Sr. right here. I tell you, John Romita Sr. did not draw the Hulk enough, in my opinion. And this is all that blue line type color where it's painted underneath and then the ink line is on acetate above. At least that's how it was done in the 80s. Back then, it might have been done differently. I mean, the heroes are mostly flat color, but then the drums are really rendered up. That's kind of funny. There, see? Colored red. Well, grayscale, except for Spider-Man. They kept it simple. They're like, let's use one color and black. Frank Robbins, Frank Giacoya. People are hot and cold on Frank Robbins. I like Frank Robbins' work. Herb Trimp, look at that. You got the Hulk wearing a freaking powdered wig. Man, I could just look at that forever. To me, this is comics being drawn where you look at it and you see individual style and stuff. Bob Brown, Mike Esposito. Dan Atkins. I kind of wish it would say the year they were born, but I get it. Don't generally do that. Gil Kane, he's like, get in there and fight. You got guns, I got a sword. Come on, guys. Michelle Wolfman, Sal Brodsky, good old George Tuska. There we go, Big John Buscema. It's like, I shall bring down the lightning, Sir Benjamin Franklin. Ross Andrew, Mike Esposito. Look at young George Perez back then. 1976. George would have been, damn it, I'm trying to remember when he was born. Byrne was born in 1950. John Byrne. George was like 54, 55, I think. So he might have been just like 21, 22, something like that. There it is. John Romita Sr. Seen that shot of Captain America a lot. Love this nice big feathering lines there in the inking. Look at that. Joe Sinnott. they're like, come on, Joe, pencil and ink something, my man. Joe is a fantastic artist. Before he just went full-blown inking, he did a lot of penciling before Mighty Marvel took off with the superheroes. Great Sal Buscema. Frank Bruner. Of course, it's October. Oh, Ichabod. Oh, I love this one. Jim Starlin, Alan Weiss. So, if memory serves, obviously Jim Starlin drew Warlock and Captain Marvel, inked by Alan. And then I'm pretty sure Alan drew the Silver Surfer and inked it as well. Love these shots, though. Jim Mooney. And then, of course, extra stuff. The Ben Grimm Guide to 1976's Pulsating Pinups. It doesn't say, like, 1776 was a minor milestone. For the first time, a foreign power, the Dutch and Saint Estadius in the West Indies saluted the American flag being flown by the Andrea Doria on hand to celebrate the occasion. Warlock, the Silver Surfer, and Captain Marvel. More Mighty Marvel birthdays here. 1977. Of course, once again, this is all written by Chris Ryall, talking about what they were going to do for that year. You can see this is when they were doing Origins, Sons of Origins, Bring on the Bad Guys. I got those. I've got this fitness book. This fitness book is great. I got to bring this out one time and do a book look on the Strength and Fitness book. It is, it's fantastic. And the nice thing about this book is now you don't have to go out and collect the actual calendars, which are hard to find. So, Patty, no last name. I'm pretty sure that's Patty Cockrum. Well, I don't know if they were married at the time yet, but I'm pretty sure that is either the wife of or soon-to-be wife of Dave Cockrum. Jack Kirby, Joe Sinnott, rocking the Fantastic Four. Good old Sal Buscema here. This doesn't look like Sal's inks to me, though. But I'm guessing it is. Oh, yeah. Nice little origin thing here by Jack Kirby and Frank Giacoya. I don't know why they did this in March and not July. Being Captain America. It might have said in that write-up. I got this book about what was it, 3 weeks to a month ago. So I did read through it, but I don't remember. But I love this. This is great. This would be fun to do a recreation of. Keep the exact same layout, but then, you know, drawn in my style. That'd be kind of fun. Gil Kane, Joe Sinnott, Daredevil. Once again, just great perspective. Love it. The evolution of Daredevil, original costume, busting through in his new costume there. And then you got the nice perspective looking down on the street below. John Buscema. Ron Wilson and Joe Sinnott. Man, 1977, I guess I remembered Ron Wilson's work going that far back. He might have just been starting somewhere in the mid-70s, I think. Great Gene Colan. See, this to me would look better for October. I'm not sure why they... unless Strange Tales 110 came out in July, then it would kind of make sense. I don't know. Like, did Amazing Fantasy 15 come out in August? Anyhow, Ross Andrew, great perspective there. George Perez and Joe Sennett, man, I love this. A young George Perez. Like I said, I think he was born in 1954, so like 23 years old. Joe Sennett, the veteran coming in and hooking up the inks on it. Love to see the pencils to that. See, okay, this totally works. October. Gene Colan, of course. Tom Palmer. John Buscema ink by P. Craig Russell. A young P. Craig Russell, because I'm willing to bet if I didn't tell you that it was P. Craig Russell that inked this, you wouldn't know. Beautiful Red Sonja. Red Sonja. Sal Buscema again. Now this looks like Sal Buscema inking to me. And then more Mighty Marvel birthdays. Howard Chaykin, October 7th. I wonder if Howard Chaykin back then was as prickly as he is now. Jim Shooter. Arvell Jones. Keith Pollard. Chick Stone. 1978, guys. How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, $8.95. And I think it was a hardcover. I have a hardcover. It's not a first edition. The dust cover's all beat up, but I don't care. The whole point of it is because it's an awesome hardcover. It's like a 5th printing or something, 6th printing. I've got a soft cover. This would be cool to find. A box set of Origins and Sons of Origins with the slipcase hardcover. That's freaking cool. Never seen one before. This is cool, seeing little thumbnails here for the graphic designer to put together. Seeing the sketch for Al Milgrom to work off of. You know, another sketch here. So this stuff is cool. The script. John Romita Sr., of course, doing the great classic Spider-Man pose. Love it. You know what I'd like to see? I think it'd be cool to see like Todd McFarlane draw that exact pose, but obviously it'd be Todd's style. I think that'd be really cool. $1978, the year of the spider. So this is Al Milgrom, and he's riffing off of Ditko stuff. I mean, this is literally off of a Ditko drawing. Totally dig the lighting and stuff on it. Jack Kirby. You don't see Jack draw Spider-Man much, and I'm sure John Verperton had to go in and do the curves, the arches on the webbing, because I think Jack in pencils just kind of drew it straight across. He's like, man, that's the inker's job. Paul Gulacy drawing Spider-Man. That's not something, drawing a lot of the heroes. This is Paul Gulacy, of course, very influenced by Jim Steranko. You can see it in some of these poses and such. Of course, the great John Romita Sr. drawing Spider-Man's cast. Everybody smile. Gil Kane, April 5th, baby. Yeah. Larry Lieber, famous rendition off of a cover John Romita Sr. did, where he's like, Spider-Man no more. John Buscema, Joe Sennett, love it. Kazar, Doc Ock. Don't know why they're specifically showing the Kazar stuff. John Buscema could draw everything, but not the best Spider-Man artist. Sorry, Big John. Not every artist is meant to draw every character. Same goes for Gene Colan. I love Gene's stuff. And this doesn't look like Gene Colan's inking. There's areas of this that look like Joe Rubinstein inked it. I don't know, but this, not bad, but just, you know, he's not a Spider-Man guy. Sal Buscema right here. See, this looks like it comes from something that Gil Kane did. And then speaking of Gil Kane, Tom Palmer, he did draw the issue where Gwen died, so that makes sense. George Perez, Pablo Marcos, 1978. George might have been 24, 25. Getting in there, you can see it's like, uh-oh, George is becoming a man to draw all the figures and stuff. Ross Andrew, Mike Esposito. What? No. Peter Parker's like, no. How could that marriage even happen? Love the Spider-Mobile. And then John Byrne. John Byrne getting in here. Now, John was 28 when he did this, because he was born in 1950. I'm a big Byrne fan. Inked by Joe Sinnott. You'd think George Perez would do something like this with all these characters, but no way. John Byrne. And at 28, John, it's probably still only took him, like, what? Maybe 5 hours, 6 hours to pencil. Knowing John's speed. But I love this. Captain Marvel, Omega the Unknown. Lots of characters you've never seen John draw. More birthdays. John Romita Jr. Right there. His birthday is August 17th. Terry Austin, I saw, August 23rd. $1979. This is the one that I own the original calendar to. Nice little internal correspondence. To Jack Kirby, Sal Buscema, Maurice Severin, George Perez, John Buscema. Look at his typewriter. Throwing the letters off and stuff. As discussed with you earlier by phone and closed, herewith are your penciling assignments for the 1979 calendar. Please supply finished pencils by December 16th. This is for the 1979 calendar. This is how far in advance they were doing it. This is November 1977. 1979 calendar. So they wanted the pencils. This is November 30th. They wanted the pencils. They had 2 weeks to draw their pinup. Here's the size. Sketches enclosed by Dave Kraft and Jim Salicrup. Need not be regarded as final layout. They're only to roughly convey what Kraft and Salicrup would like to see. Like I said, this is the calendar I own. Great John Romita Sr. there drawing the Hulk. Starting off, big Jack Kirby, Joe Sinnott. Nice. Walt freaking Simonson. You can see the beginnings of his great inking work here that he does. It's got the great dynamics of Kirby going on. That's freaking cool. All these are hand-painted color. Of course, Sal Buscema. My buddy Drew Geraci loves this Iron Man. Just loves it. Loves this design. I don't mind it. Don't get me wrong. But, and I know it's comics, and 90% of the time I'm so good at letting my mind go. It's comics. Anything can happen. But then when I see this armor and it's metal, and like, you know, he's got the skirt thing here that stretches no problem. Metal. I mean, what kind of metal is it? And then like this big chunky, I don't know. This is one of the few designs that just boggles my mind. I drew it once for Drew Geraci. We did a trade so he could ink it because he loves it so much. And it's just very hard for me to get my mind around. I'll just leave it at that. Alan Weiss, one of my favorite artists there. Happy birthday, big guy, March 7th. Dave Cockrum, inked by Bob Layton. Bob Layton inked one issue. I think it was X-Men 108 over Dave. One of my favorite issues. Those guys made a great team. And I can't remember why Bob, I think he was supposed to be the regular inker, but he did the one issue and then he got pulled off for other stuff. But man, I tell you, those guys clicked so well. And then, you know, when Dave came back to the X-Men after Byrne, Joe Rubinstein, Bob Wycheck really hooked Dave up. This I love. Now, George Perez pencils, Diverse Hands inks. So this figure here of the Hulk, Dollars to Donuts, that looks like it's inked by Alan Weiss over George. This figure, though, it's not Joe Sinnott. It's not Alan Weiss. Bob Wycheck, maybe early on. Bob Layton, I'm not sure, and it didn't say either. So I don't know who did it, but man, I would love to know. This is one of my favorites. John Buscema, inked by Joe Rubinstein. I love this. I love the way Joe inks John Buscema. And look at this Hulk. In today's world, you'd look at it and be like, why is his head so big? Like, this fits in with the movie Hulk, proportion-wise. But it just doesn't look that hulking to me. There you go, George Perez's birthday. I'm going to stick with 1954. So if I'm correct, he was 25 there. Guys, in the chat, correct me for the actual birthday. Ron Wilson, Pablo Marcos. That is awesome. That's a great rendition of the thing. Now that Hulk is huge. Man, that's a smackdown, baby. Keith Pollard, inked by Tom Palmer. This is a great one as well. Look at this. Janice Cohen. Look cutie. Ed Hannigan, 1979. Look at that long ass hair. Gentleman Jim Mooney. John Romita Jr. Maurice Severin. We had Terry Austin. Beardless Terry Austin. Jack the King Kirby. Don Perlin. I'm telling you, Marvel, and who knows, they might be doing this. And guys, if they do this, I will get them. 1976, do another calendar because it should line up with 2026, so on and so forth. Leap years, I believe everything should line up. So we'll see. This is Herb Trimp. This is not Herb Trimp's inking. I don't know who inked this. It says it's all Herb. Maybe Herb was experimenting because this does not look like Herb's inking to me. But I prefer Herb's big, bold, brushy inking. Sal Buscema, John Romita Sr., Dave Hunt. So I'm guessing Sal drew this, John Romita drew that, and Dave Hunt inked the whole thing, is my guess. This is the piece that always stood out to me. John Byrne, Terry Austin, referencing back to Incredible Hulk 170... Oh, it's 178, 179. Oh, 178, there it is. No, I did not see that first, but I read it. a few weeks ago, so I probably remembered that way. Herb Trimp drew it. This is cool. Love it. Ed Hannigan, inked by Klaus Janson. Really cool. Check that Walt Simonson. I mean, not my favorite rendition of the Hulk. Very cartoony, but cool. Let's see. Now we're moving it. Herb Trimp. This is the Herb Trimp inking I'm used to seeing. 1980. It's a strange, strange world, guys. I'm probably one of the few guys out there that love it when Doctor Strange said, I'm going to be a real superhero with a skin-tight costume. Love that. Is this the year of Doctor Strange? Al Milgrom trying, once again, looks like he's pulling a Ditko there. Look at young Klaus Janson. Bill Sienkiewicz, inked by Joe Rubinstein. Early Bill Sienkiewicz when he was in his Neil Adams phase. Freaking love it. Pat Broderick, inked by Bob Layton. Pat's a great guy. Always been a fan of Pat's work. And I think this is probably the only time these two guys have ever worked together. Unless Bob inked them uncredited on some stuff. But that's very cool. Love that. Gene Colan, Tom Palmer. I wonder why they did a whole year devoted to Doctor Strange. His book must have been selling really great back then. Mike Zeck. 1980. Early Mike Zeck. I mean, you can totally see the Zeckisms throughout this whole thing. The lighting, you can see his Wally Wood influence in there. The way he does the lighting. Rudy Nebres. I would love to have seen him actually draw Doctor Strange and not Stephen Strange in a suit, but it's okay. Great Filipino artist, Rudy Nebres. George Perez, Bob Wyacek. Now, if I first looked at this and you asked me who inked it, it's got a little Gene Day look to it. Some areas have a Joe Rubinstein look to it, but Bob Wyacek, love it. I got to draw that costume. I think that's freaking awesome. Keith Pollard, Joe Sennett once again. John Romita Jr. Look at that one. That does not look like John. He was going through a phase. Marie Severin, she's like, don't make me do it. Do you feel lucky? If you can't see it that well, that is a gun she's holding right there. That's cool. Ernie Colon here. John Byrne, Terry Austin, Team Supreme, working on the X-Men, just kicking it, knocking it out of the park there. Gene Colan, Tom Palmer, November. Should have been October with the Dracula there. Tom Sutton, underrated artist Tom Sutton. Very, very cool and dynamic. Trying to get all the Ditko weird stuff in there. Happy birthday, John Buscema, December 11th. Frank Springer, December 6th. Ralph Macchio, December 29th. Look at young Ralph. Stan Lee, December 28th. More birthdays going on. Let's see. Now we're going into the last calendar they did, 1981. The year the calendars died. I remember this calendar. John Byrne, Terry Austin cover. Freaking cool. That is Bill Sienkiewicz, inked by Joe Sennett. Bill Sienkiewicz, before John Byrne took over Fantastic Four, had a run on Fantastic Four that was really cool. He was doing his Neil Adams face still. So it was like, what if Neil Adams drew the Fantastic Four? It was really cool. John Romita Jr. finally getting into the action. Early Spider-Man. You can still see lots of his dad in that artwork in the figure of Spider-Man. Jay Jonah really wants him. He's like, I mean, his leg, most of his body's out the window. Robbie Robinson's like, Jonah, dude, you're about to die. Stop it. Oh my God, Michael freaking Golden, early Michael Golden, kicking it with the Incredible Hulk. Love this lighting. Holy crap, that's freaking cool. Keith Pollard, Bob McLeod. Very cool. I got to give it up to Hercules winning this fight because I like Hercules more than I like Thor, so deal with it. Thor would probably win, but I'll give it up to Hercules. Of course, X-Men, John Byrne, Terry Austin. Here's the weird thing. All this looks like Terry, except for this. Like, a lot of the rendering looks like Terry, but then right here, in his chest and stomach, looks too loose for Terry. So, I don't know. Still really freaking cool. Frank Miller, Klaus Janson, Daredevil Team Supreme. Check that out. Beautiful work. Ron Wilson, Joe Rubinstein. My God, I would love to have seen Joe ink so much of Ron's stuff. Look at the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. Everything that Ron Wilson penciled, Joe Rubinstein inked it, and just... Joe is one of the best inkers around. In the late 70s, 80s, Joe was just crushing it. He's a little curmudgeonly now, but just one of the best. George Perez, Gene Day. Here we go. The Avengers. Man, these guys did some Marvel 2-in-1s that were just fantastic. Babyface Bob Layton, known for Iron Man. There he is, working on the armor. Different ones back here. Big influence on Jon Favreau in the movies. Favorite shot by John Romita Jr. and Bob Layton right there. Love that Iron Man shot. Love it. It's from a splash page. Can't remember the issue number. Art by Patty Cockrum. I'm guessing Dave helped out some on this. She was known more for coloring. So I'm going to assume Dave helped her out on this some. Either that or she just... Like, that's very Gene Colan, so maybe she just swiped a bunch of stuff. Who knows? It's cool. Aaron Lopresti's favorite monster right there. I don't remember the name of the monster because it's goofy, but Aaron loves that guy for some reason. John and Sal Buscema. Sal Buscema was John's favorite inker over his work when John couldn't ink it himself. Silver Surfer Baby, one of my favorite characters in Marvel. And it's November. 1981. I was turning 12 on that Thursday. Rudy freaking Nebres, ending the year, last calendar, hooking it up with a bunch of, I don't know, I'd call them B-list characters myself, but great job. Marvel Boy, soon to be Quasar, one of my favorites, Nighthawk, Power Man, Iron Fist, Submariner, Valkyrie, Kazar, Machine Man, Howard the Duck, Tigra, Giant Man, She-Hulk, Sheena, Moon Knight, Punisher, Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, Nick Fury, Spider-Woman, Hellcat, Ant-Man. Boom. Didn't miss anybody. That's it, guys. That is the last calendar. Marvel did for the past some years. They've been doing these free calendars that are the same size of like a comic book. And, you know, they flip up, double the size. And I would usually get those because they're free. This year I split. They didn't do it this year. And probably because they wanted people to buy the 1975 redo calendar for 2025. Hopefully they'll continue the trend. In the back of the book, we've got some original art scans. I would love to know who owns this. I love seeing the white out here. John Romita Sr. was like, ugh, whatever feathering I did was ugly. Goop some white out down, do the feathering. What whiteout did those guys use back then? Because I tell you, the material quality has gone down. Sal Buscema here. Original. That's weird. This is Bob Brown, not Sal. So they credited it wrong because in 1976, they gave the credit to Bob Brown. But here we go. Jim Starlin, Alan Weiss. I'm telling you, Alan Weiss penciled and inked that. Silver Surfer, Jim penciled Warlock and Captain Marvel, and Alan inked them. Look at all that whiteout gooped one back there for the stars. Love it. And then Gil Kane inking with markers. And then what do we got here? Just some internal letters that were given out about the calendars. More, oh, this is cool. So this is scanned from the original. Jack Kirby pencils. See, just the grid. He didn't even do the spider symbol on his chest. John Romita Sr. inks. You can totally tell John Romita Sr. is like, nice Spider-Man, Jack. Steamroll. It's like what Kevin Nolan does to a lot of pencilers. That's all John Romita Sr., except for the pose. That's pretty on Jack Kirby. And then other figures, he just gave him the John Romita touch. It looks like he did most of it in the inking, except for Spider-Man. Maybe some of the Hulk he might have taken a pencil to, but definitely Spider-Man. And then I love it seeing some of these roughs. This is the one given to Al Milgram. And it does say, you know, work off of some of the Steve Ditko stuff when you read it. John Byrne, this is God. Like, this wouldn't sell for as much as his X-Men pages, but this would still sell for a ton of money. I think this would hit 6 figures. Let me know what you guys think. I think that would, though, if it was ever sold. Big Lou. Look at all this whiteout in here that either Walt Simonson did or maybe somebody in production. I don't know, but man, tons of whiteout there. Babyface Bob Layton. Oh, God, love this. Bill Sienkiewicz, Joe Rubenstein. Growing up, I thought Joe was inking with a brush. This is pen. I found out later in life. Joe Sinnott was a brush guy, though. Look at that. Pablo Marcos is such a wonderful person. I got to meet him at CrossGen. He is one of the nicest guys. Sweetheart. Just a great guy. Keith Pollard, Bob McLeod. Bob is another fantastic inker. And then credits and stuff for the calendars. And then just some more on the end leaf roughs and stuff. And then ending it with the Jack Kirby one. So there you go, guys. Love that Captain America. Hope you enjoyed this book look of the Mighty Marvel calendar book. This book was so big, I had to set the camera up on a table above it, and I sat on the floor because it's so big. So hope you enjoyed this book look. We'll catch you next time. Guys, go check out the link below for Lilith, Infernal Conflict, the new book coming from Astonishing Comics. This book features a Lilith solo adventure tale in the abyss. So check that out. Kordrath, the printed book, Kordrath the Awakening, will be here mid-March, so we can start shipping them out to you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later.